Normally before these start, I have a mic check session with Joe, but like I said, Joe is somewhere in the Arctic Circle right now. I installed a tracker on him called JoeJack. So every time, I check it, I see where he's at. He was in Greenland, and then he went to some other very cold looking place, which sounds very refreshing compared to Florida at the moment. Anyhow, those of you who are new here, welcome. This is the Cloudy County Extension community. This is a community that Joe and I run to kind of do a little bit of, training, if you will, for extension agents who are techie and want to learn more about the cloud and different technologies that are part of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which most of you already have access to. So our goal is always to not burden you with new stuff, but to show you things that you could use, maybe integrate into your life. We know that you're not going to use all the things, but if you find it useful, hopefully you'll be able to add it to your day. Today's topic is kind of all about that. It's task management. We talked about Microsoft Planner quite a few months ago, I think 7 or 8 months ago. And Microsoft Planner is really popular. It's in Joe and I's adventures early on in the deployment of Teams. We found out that once we got to the part of Teams where we talked about Microsoft Planner, everybody was like, "Yeah, cool, we'll use it. Just give us that task thing that you showed us. We want to be able to put down tasks on a board and arrange them and assign them to people so we can track projects." And it was kind of funny because after a few months of that, we were like, maybe we should just lead with Planner, then talk about Teams, because everybody seems to really like it. But there's more places that tasks kind of surface themselves, and Planner might be overkill in some situations. When you're just planning your day. Maybe you don't need an entire planner board, that comes along with the Teams team and all of those things that kind of plug into it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the recordings. I'll drop a link. I made a short link for it. It's aka.ms Cloudy County videos. And that will take you directly to that's not working. Sorry. I typoed it. That will take you to a YouTube playlist of all of our videos, so that we have on there. So let me try that one more time. Cloudy County videos. There we go. That one will work. But yeah, we put all of these recordings in a playlist. Oldest at the bottom, newest at the top, so that makes it easy for you to find in case you miss it. But just to recap a little bit, let me share my screen here. And I'm doing this solo today. I have no wingman with Joe, so if I fumble, that's why. So just to recap, anything that you want to start with, hopefully we've said this 1,000 times for this community. Anytime you want to get started with any of these tools, usually you're going to want to go to office.com. Office.com is going to be your landing page. It's going to be your getting started page. It's going to have stuff that you've looked at recently, stuff that's been shared with you, all kinds of useful information. A lot of folks think about Office and they think about the app on their computer, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those types of things. But a lot of these are cloud only, right? Teams has a desktop app, but all the stuff that it does is in the cloud. Planner also is a cloud app. So when you hit office.com, that's my start page here, but just to be thorough, I'll hit office.com and you'll see it looks mostly the same. You're going to have the app launcher up here at the top left. The app launcher is going to show you all the apps that you have access to. We talked about this a few times with like licensing and trying to figure out what kind of license you have and what kind of apps have been enabled. But an easy way just to see what you have is to hit that launcher and then try the Explore all your apps. And you're going to see lots of apps. So we'll go all apps. there's a lot of stuff in here. Not all of it is something that you need to dig into and use, but I definitely encourage people to poke and read and launch and just see what happens. But you'll see planner listed here. And I feel like one of the things that I'd really revisit from the planner training that we did way back when is to emphasize that planner doesn't necessarily have to be in Teams. Planner is its own application. Planner can run all by itself without a team connected to it. Now, if you think about what the purpose of Teams is a hub that pulls together all these different applications that are part of Microsoft 365. So it makes sense to have the two together. But I just wanted to point out it is possible to have a planner plan. So you can go here and you can say new plan, and you can choose from some of these templates and you can create a new plan without a team. The primary reason that I wanted to tell you that is because the way planner looks in Teams is a little bit different than the way planner looks just in the planner web app. So if I open up, let's see, demo planner here, you're going to see a little bit of a different interface than if I were to look at this directly inside of Teams. Some of the most important things that I'll point out quickly are the management options. So we've talked about the waffle, which is your app launcher. You're going to hear me say meatball menu. I've said that probably 1,000 times. We should maybe get a counter for that. But the meatball menu is always where you're going to see additional settings. If you're looking for an option and you don't see it, try checking out the meatball menu. So when you look at the meatball menu in Planner, you're going to see some pretty awesome settings that you are not going to see in Teams. A few that I'll point out are copy plan. You can duplicate a plan from one team to another. Now, let me dig into that a little bit. It does not present the same plan in two teams at the same time. It is like when you make a copy of a file, you have made a duplication of that file. You'll do the same thing here. Now, this means you could have an empty plan like the one that I have here. And maybe this is a plan that we use each year. Maybe it's an event. Maybe it's an event that we do every single year. And we created a planner board for the last time we did that event. You'll be able to take that plan and copy it and pull over kind of the structure of it and put it into a new team and run that event for the next year. So you can make like a template almost, if you will. So you saw when I went to create a new plan, I have these new template options here. These are just going to come with pre-configured planner buckets, and cards and labels and those types of things that you get in a planner plan. But you could create this yourself, make a planner board that's exactly the way that you want and kind of like hide it, and don't use it. Just make copies of it each time that event occurs. I think my camera's freaking out. It's been a day. I'm just going to go with no camera. All right. So we're talking about Planner. I wanted to point out and emphasize that when you're using Planner inside of Teams, there's more to it. When you look at this interface of this demo, if I go into a team that has a planner plan in it, this is nice and this is convenient, but I can't do those same things that I could do earlier. Like I'm missing those options, those capabilities, right? The ability to copy that plan or export that plan or manipulate settings of that plan. An easy way for you to get to a planner plan is to just see this little down arrow right here on the tab. So if you've got a planner plan tabbed into a team and you want to get to those settings really quickly, you can just drop this down and say go to website. And that will take you in your web browser directly to the plan. So that could save you some steps, right? That could save you some steps of open your browser, go to office.com, try to remember what Dwayne said about waffles and hamburgers and meatballs, and find your planner plan. You could do it directly through Teams here. So that's pretty handy to me. I have seen some of our offices, use these planner plans that they, like I said, they create like a skeleton of a plan, and then they'll copy it. And so when they copy it, they can decide if they want to copy it to the same team where the plan already exists, or they could copy it out to, a whole completely different team that they are a member of, which is pretty cool. And like I said, it's not the same plan in two places. It's like when you copy a file and create a duplication of it. Now, a few views that are nice in Planner are the number one, the assigned to me view. This is going to show you tasks that are assigned to you across all of the plans that you're a member of. So this is like your own personal board in a sense, but it comes along with like this grid view, which is pretty nice. I like this one quite a bit. If you had a whole lot of planner plans and cards and things and tasks that are assigned to you, I could see this being an easier way to look at it than looking at it on a board. But these are going to give you like your personal metrics, your personal stats, like how many things are assigned to me, how many things do I have left, what's my schedule look like across all of these planner plans that I'm a member of, which is pretty cool. And then I don't know about this. I always encourage people to look at this. I mean, it says schedule, right? Not calendar. Maybe I'm splitting hairs, but I consider those to be two different things. A calendar is something that I'm using to track meetings, mostly track meetings and things places I have to be, appointments that I have, those types of things. Versus a schedule is going to be like a schedule of events as they relate to a particular project, right? So you can play around with trying to add it to your Outlook calendar. There's ways that you can do that with planner plans specifically as well. A plan owner has to turn that on in the settings somewhere in here. I remember exactly where. Let's just try it. Yeah, so you can publish it. So as a plan owner, you could do this so that your members could do this. But I would tread lightly here. I don't know if I would lead with this because a lot of folks might get confused, and it only pulls things down from Planner and puts them in your calendar. It's not going to go the other way. So a lot of folks might be used to or get confused and think like, oh, I dropped this on my calendar. Why didn't it show up in Planner? That's not how this works. This is just pulling down a copy of what is listed on this schedule. And I hope that makes sense. And like I said, I know I might be splitting hairs saying schedule versus calendar, but I really do think when you get down into the details of those two things, that they are very different, their purpose. And so just Dwayne's 2 cents there. Now, let's talk about if Planner's too much. Let's say Planner is, like I said, for managing a project. It's like project management light. It's a whole group of people. You can see we've got all these people here who are working on it. Well, maybe you just want to manage yourself, right? Maybe you just want to keep your own sanity and your day intact. So I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can do that. And then we'll talk about different places that those tasks are actually going to come up inside of Microsoft 365. The first one is going to be an app called To Do. I'm in Outlook because in some of the newer builds of Outlook, To Do is actually on the ribbon right there. So it's going to be like this little checkbox thing that you can access it directly inside of Outlook. It's also, of course, going to be on the web. So same little checkbox there. There is an app for this in the Windows Store for Windows. It might even already be on my computer. Yep, Microsoft To Do. And there are mobile apps, for Android and iOS. Now, To Do is a task list management tool, but it can actually see tasks that come from other places, like planner plans. And we're going to get into something very new called a loop component. That's a lot of fun. Hopefully, one of these days we'll have a big dive into a deep dive into Microsoft Loop. But because of its connections to these other platforms, or these other apps inside of the bigger platform, I feel like it's more than just a task management tool. Like it really gives you a way to pull stuff in and organize them and arrange them. You can make your own lists. You get your My Day list by default. This is one that's kind of stuck here that lets you plan out your day. This list will reset every day. You can create new lists if you want. So if we want to make a list, I'm going to call this test list. I can start adding items into this. So chat with Cloudy County, right? And then show them to do. And I can start adding things into this and organize my tasks into different lists. And that's going to synchronize over. So let's take a peek and see if it's in Outlook already, because it should be. Yep. So this is the Outlook version, and I was just in the web version. So you can see the sync is pretty much instantaneous. It's super fast, which I like a lot. The My Day view that I talked about up here, you can take any of these tasks and you can right click on it and say add to my day. And so if you've got a lot of tasks that you're juggling, this is an easy way to kind of break it down into, manageable chunks. I feel like just sit back and look and see, okay, what can I get done today? And then click on all of those and add them to your My Day view. You can also do this with tasks that are assigned to you from those plans. So if you under this assign to me, you're going to see these tasks right here. That is the same thing. So we've got chat with office hours, eat brisket, and a template card. If we go over to our board here, we've got chat with office hours, eat brisket, and a template card. So this is the exact same list of things to do, but you can see the sources of these are different. These are coming from different places, right? Different planner plans that I'm a member of. So you can take, everybody wants to eat brisket, right? So add to my day. So I'm going to add that to my day. Hopefully I get to do that sometime today. And so now I'm pulling in tasks from all these different locations and assembling them into a manageable agenda, for my day. We have a few other places that you can pull things in. So if I go back into Outlook and check, my mailbox here. So I've created this bookings calendar. So let's pretend that this is a really important email. This is a follow-up item. This is something that I'm going to have to do at some point. I can use this little flag icon here. And the flag icon has gotten a lot more, I feel like, useful in the last few years, because it's going to give me more than just a way to filter all my emails and view all of my flagged emails. I can filter here and say flagged mail, and I can see all my flagged emails, and that's cool, but I'm still in my inbox, right? I'm still managing mail, and that's boring. Nobody likes to manage mail. But when you flip over to do, you'll see you have a flagged mail. And you can take this flagged mail and you can right click on it and you can add it to your day, right? So it's part of my day. And now it's taking this email and it's turning it kind of like more into an action item, like more into a task. And I think that we talked about, let me go back and see. Might not have done that with y'all yet, but I feel like that's something we should do. Wrangling your inbox. Yeah, we need to do that. We have a podcast episode on a principle called Inbox Zero, and we've done some presentations on it before. But Inbox Zero is this concept of, I'm going to go into my mail. I'm going to have a couple of different folders. Like, I'm not going to get carried away with my folders. And every single time I look at an email, I'm going to try to quickly make a decision on what I'm going to do with that email. Is it, okay, I read this and I no longer need it, delete or archive, You know, is it I read it and I'm going to need to do something with it later, or I need it for, you know, reference at some later point? Archive. Is it something that I can do right now? Well, then you reply to it and you do it right then, and then you archive it. Is it something that I can do, but I need time and I have to do it later? Well, now you can flag it for follow-up. And so those types, you know, combining that with some rules, I think that would be a really good episode. If y'all are interested in inbox zero principles, you know, just let me know in the chat. Maybe we could do that one of our upcoming community meetings. But the idea is that you're looking at these emails like they're things to do. They're not messages to read. They're not, I mean, like this is a black hole, right? this application is like a productivity time warp that you get sucked into. And now you're scrolling through your mailbox and you're clicking on things and looking at them and getting rabbit holed in all these different directions. And so if you just kind of switch that mentality just a hair, and you think about these as tasks, that's a task. Okay, I did that. I don't need that anymore. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to archive this. You know, you can start to create a workflow of stuff that you know, how you can manage these to-do items. And to-do, I realize I'm saying that word a lot, but the to-do aspect of this integrates perfectly into, like, look, like I flag this, I can go right here. Now I can see all of my flagged email, and I can see all of the other things that are assigned to me through all the different planner plans that I'm a part of. I can see my own personal list. Like this is just my list. I don't have to give anybody access to this. I can take all those different sources and I can assemble them into my day. This is what my day is going to look like. This is what I'm going to do today. Keep yourself kind of like headed in one direction, right? I'm a pretty ADHD kind of personality. I will go in a whole bunch of different directions all at the same time, and then have to watch myself or catch myself and realize, like, hey, you're not being super productive. You know, you're reading, you're chatting, you're checking an email, and you're running a meeting all at the same time. Like, let's zero in. So I try to use to keep my mind right, to keep me all headed in one direction. And so this app works great for me. There's another similar way to consume this app that I feel like is pretty handy. If you're a Teams user, you can go into Microsoft Teams and go into the App Store, and you might find this one right here. It's called Tasks by Planner and To Do. And you can pin this. So let me show you how that would work. I'm going to unpin it. No, just exit out. So you see it's gone. If I click my three dots and I find it, so you could just type in tasks and find it here. You can pin this to your left rail, your app bar, and you can do that with any app, right? You could find, maybe you use bookings a lot and you want the virtual appointments app. You could right click on that and say pin. And when you do that and these little Teams apps become apps, you can interact with them and play with them and you know, pop it out into its own little extra window and keep it running on the side. But this is more or less going to be very similar data to what is in Microsoft To Do. It's going to be a combination of all the tasks that are assigned to you. But one of the biggest things I think that's different is the ability to see it in like that grid view, which I like quite a bit. So, but you're going to see your My Day. You're going to see things that are assigned to you across those other tasks that you're a part of. You're going to see your flagged emails in here now. And you're going to see your to-do, like your individual to-do lists that you have created. So I think that this is a really great way to not have to switch context in two different places. So if I'm in Teams and I want to manage a task, I can just go click that. Boom, I'm in my task management. If I'm in Outlook and I want to manage a task, I can just click that, and now I'm in To Do. And like I said, you'll have these apps available on mobile as well if you wanted to, which means you can task anywhere that you are. You can keep track of what you got going on, right? We can create new plans and new lists and stuff from here. which I think's handy, especially if you want to get rolling with a new plan. But typically what I would suggest to folks is if your intention is to collaborate with a team and create a new plan, I would just do it. Let me find a team where we can do it in. So we've got a staff team. I would just go into the channel where you want the planner board to live, click the plus symbol there, and then click tasks by planner to do. And what this is going to ensure is it ensures that you are going to create a planner plan and it's going to be connected to the right team. If you're in a lot of teams and you're trying to scroll through, you know, as you're creating your plan and pick a team, there's a chance you could create it in the wrong team, right? Which is not the end of the world. It can be undone. But doing it this way gives you the ability to make sure not only is it in the right team, but I brought it into the channel that I want everybody to be working in and communicating in when they are working on this planner plan. I feel like channels are conversational first. That's what I always tell people when you're creating a channel. So we could make a new channel in here and we could call it, you know, 4-H camp and make sure everyone can see it. All right. So we've created a 4-H camp channel. We're going to actually, you know, talk about the 4-H camp. It makes sense to create a planner plan right here and we'll call it 4-H. Come on. Maybe loading. Cloud's having a hiccup. Try that one more time. There we go. So we'll call this the 4-H Camp 2023. This checkbox, I'll leave it checked just so you can see what would happen. But it's just going to post a message into the channel that says, hey, I made a plan. Click here and check it out. So we'll click save. And you'll see over in the posts, it says, I added a tab, check it out. But now you've got a planner plan connected into the exact team that you wanted it in the exact channel where you're going to be talking about the event that you're doing or the project that you're doing, which is also going to be the same place where you're likely going to be storing the documents and the files that are connected to that project. So you can see how Teams does a really good job of wrapping it all together and putting it all in one place. This is going to make it a lot easier for your coworkers and your friends to find stuff. They're going to be in the planner plan and they're only 2 tabs over from accessing the document that maybe you're working on. Maybe you're creating flyers, right? One of the tasks is create flyers. Well, you could go ahead and store the flyer in the files tab. So let's make a Word document. We'll call it 4-H 2023 flyer. I don't necessarily have to type a bunch of stuff in it, but here's a cool little trick. You can type random, how many sentences you want, how many paragraphs you want, hit enter, and it will just spit out a bunch of random stuff. I like doing that because that way I can change it and demonstrate how you could like roll a document back or something. So we've got this file here, and we go to our planner plan, and we're going to create a task called publish flyer. Let's add that to our board. So when we go into our publish flyer task, we can actually attach that file to it because it's stored right there next to it. We can just say from my Teams files. And I'll go into the 4-H Camp channel. Notice these channels here are going to match, these folders here are going to match these channels that are over here. So I'll go into 4-H Camp, select my file there. And now that document has been connected to this planner card, and you even have like a little preview of it if you want. You could take the preview off on the planner card. You can assign this. So I'm going to assign this to Nestor, and I'm going to give I'm going to say it's not been started yet, but we're going to give it a due date. We're going to say he needs to have this done by Friday. Actually, you know what? Let's assign it to Adele, because I want to show what happens when we assign it to somebody else. And this is kind of nice. You can, a task can be owned by multiple people, right? Which makes a lot of sense. Sometimes these things require partners, to make these things happen. But in this case, we're just going to do a duh. And we'll exit out of that. Now on Adele's side, we flip over to see what she sees. She immediately got a notification that said, hey, you've been assigned a task. She's going to get that notification inside of Teams. And because it's through Planner, she's going to have, some encouraging reminders that say, hey, you've got a plan, you've got a task coming up, you've got a task that's due. You saw those in Nestor's mailbox. He had emails, like digest emails and stuff that were saying, here's all your things that are coming up. The only way that you're going to get that kind of information is if you assign a due date. Due date isn't necessary. You don't have to do a due date. But one of the things that we said in that planner training is that the more you fill out here, like all these little fields, the more you're going to get out of the product. The more information you give it, the more information you can get out of it via reporting and dashboards and those types of things. So if you didn't put a due date, she's not going to get reminder emails because we don't know when she's supposed to do it, right? That kind of makes sense. So on Adele's side, if she goes into her tasks by planner to do, which is pinned on her ribbon, she's going to see publish flyer there right away. She can add it to her day through little meatballs. So add to my day. And so now publish flyer is a part of her day. And if Adele goes into to do via office.com, there it is. You'll see that same exact thing was transferred over. There we go. Publish flyer. It's part of my day. Oh, it's trying to give me a wizard to teach me how to use to do. So this is, I don't know. I like this ecosystem because it's already where I'm at. Again, it's already where my files are. It's already where I'm talking to my peers. And I can kind of decide how I want to consume these to-do items and these task items. I want to spend the last couple of minutes talking about a newish way that you can assign tasks using a thing called loop components. So I'm going to flip back over to Nestor, and I'm going to start a chat with Adele. I think I probably already have a chat with Adele. Yep, there we go. All right. So inside of Teams, you're going to see this new little icon here. This should be turned on by default for everybody. So just take a peek, act like you're going to send one of your coworkers a message and look on the bar. But this fires up a new app called Microsoft Loop. Microsoft Loop is it's a lot to take on. It's a lot to take in because it's a really brand new way of people working together really, really quickly. The idea is that Loop lets you put the document or the space that you want to work in directly in your Teams chat or into an Outlook email. So what do I mean by that? Well, you have these different items that you can select from that you want to drop into your chats, and one of those is going to be called a task list. So this is one more place that you can create things for people to do. So maybe let me give you a better example. I'll start a new chat with Adele, and I'll also start with Henry and Omar. And so I've got these three peoples here. So I'll say, hey, everyone, I'm going to start this group chat. We've got work to do. So group chat is started. I'm going to create a loop component. I'm going to drop in task list. I'm going to give it a name. So it'll be 4-H Camp 2023. Now, this is exactly what it sounds like. This is a task list that's now going to be shared with the people who are in this channel with me, or in this chat with me. So I can create a task and I can say publish flyer, and I can assign this to Adele. And then I can say put up, whoops, forgot to arrow down. I can say put up flyers, and I can assign that to Henry. And when I send this, it's going to create this really cool little pocket inside of my Teams chat where I could keep working in this. Like, this is live right now. So we're going to say mail out flyers. We really like flyers today. And I'm going to assign this to Omar. And let's give these a due date. So publish the flyer needs to be done by Friday. Putting up the flyers, we're going to start on Monday. And mailing the flyers out will also start on Monday. Now, this task list is going to copy over into the to-do app. So you're actually going to see, let's flip over to Adele's view so you can see what she received. She received this loop component. It unfolds itself, so to speak, right inside of our chat. And so this is live. I can see Nestor is looking at it, and I can add more tasks and I can assign them to people. I can see right where Nestor is working. I could even add more types of content into this if I wanted to. So remember when I created it the first time, I had to pick from these different kinds of items. You can arrow down underneath this and you can insert even more stuff if you wanted to. So you could insert like a bulleted list. You could insert, I'm doing that by typing the /. You could insert just a regular table. Voting table is really popular because it's a way for you to gather ideas and people can like type notes about them, the pros and the cons to it, and then they can vote on it. So they can add a vote. And this table will kind of move around as you're upvoting different ideas here. So kind of like a poll, but a little less formal, I suppose. But we're talking about tasks today. I'm trying not to get sidetracked and talk about Loop too much. But let's head over to, I don't know if you saw that incremented from 1 to 2. And here we've got publish flyer is now from my Loop task list is showing up in to do. So this is kind of like, I would say Loop components kind of sit in between your individual task list that you could create for yourself in Microsoft To Do versus a full-fledged planner plan. You know, if I switch over to Nestor's view, that full-fledged planner board that you've created that's really serious, right? We've got buckets and we've got things we're going to assign to people. We've got metrics we're pulling. Loop kind of sits in between those as, hey, we just need to get going and we need to get going fast. Loop is all about speed. And because this uses Planner behind the scenes, you can get some of those same functions, right? You can get those reminder emails. It's going to, as long as you populate due date, you're going to get reminder emails that say, hey, this is happening, right? That you can see, every once in a while, you'll see this messages around. It's doing a sync up to the planner plan that it created for you. But again, this is all about speed. We're going to start a group chat. Think about doing this in a meeting. Oh man, how cool is that? Like, we're running a meeting and you drop a Loop component into the meeting while you're all talking and you hammer out, all right, here's what we need to do and here's who's going to do it. Now it becomes actionable. It's not just action items. It's not just action items that were put down in the minutes of, you know, a meeting by somebody who was taking notes. And what I mean by that is it actually shows up in like what you're supposed to be doing in various different places. It shows up in To Do, and it's going to show up in tasks inside of the Teams app. You'll have access to it through Outlook. It actually becomes an actionable item, not just an action item. So, and you're going to get, you know, like I said, friendly reminders that that let you know you've got something coming up. I see a few let me look at the chat. And if you have questions, feel free to, raise your hand or come off mute and ask. I'm all for it. I like these things to be conversational if they can be. A couple yeses to inbox zero, which is definitely something we will talk about. Yeah, some comments around too many files and folders. Yeah, rules. It's easy to get addicted to rules. I'm not gonna lie. I've got several, but we have some base rules that we'll be able to show that I feel like are pretty useful. And one thing that I'll show that I feel like is super awesome that I can't help myself but share is if you go to Outlook for the web. This is only an Outlook for the web. But if you go to Outlook for the web and you get emails from one specific thing a lot, like maybe it's a vendor, maybe it's an automated report thing, you can actually just click on one of those emails and there's a button called sweep. Sweep will either let you nuke all of those messages. It will say, hey, anything that came from this particular source, just delete it all right now. I love this for, vendor things that I get in, spam-ish type things that I get where I'm like, I don't want to unsubscribe, but I don't really care about it right now. You can just make it go away. But the thing that it does that's even more magical than that is check this out. Always move messages that are older than 10 days to deleted items. So now it's only going to keep the latest things that came from whatever that source is. And the rest of it is just going to auto delete, which I feel like is magical. So a little bit of a teaser there, a little bit of a nugget for inbox zero. I'll have to tell Joe when he comes back from his igloo that we'll talk about that next month. But yeah, I love it. Now you can go in and view that rule. And these are sweep rules. So these sweep rules are different from your regular rules. Your regular rules are going to be anytime an email comes from this person, put it in this folder, right? Sweep rules are a little bit different and you can only create them from the sweep button and Outlook Online only. So give that a try next time you're trying to clean up your mailbox. All right, I know this was kind of chaotic, and that's because my brain's a little fried. And sorry, I had to take a break earlier there in the middle of our call. But I'm curious, if any of you are using task management tools today? Like, how are you keeping track of things that you're doing? Are any of you using To-Do or Planner? Or do you think any of you might give it a try? I'd be curious to see if any of you are, interested in giving it a go. So feel free to, like I said, in about 8 minutes, I'll kill the recording. You can come off mute if you want, or you type in the chat, whatever you want to do. Let's have a chat. So we've got a one seasoned To-Do user. I like that. Calendar with reminders. Yeah, I'll do another email trick. I hate to get too much into email, but I feel like this is important. Did you know that you can, in the Outlook desktop client, did you know that you can drag an email to your calendar and it will fire up the appointment maker? So again, this is something, I don't want to ruin all of our inbox zero content, but this is another way to turn an email into something that you have to do and have it go on your calendar and block out time. The things that are sitting in To-Do are things that you need to get done, but they don't actually block your free busy. They don't prevent you from being scheduled, right? I get meetings all the time, like tons of meetings. And if my calendar's blocked, it kind of saves that space, right? And so if you have an email that you're like, I really need to spend some time, I think I need about an hour to do this, you could just grab that email and drag it over to the calendar button, and it will let you turn that email into an appointment that you can then schedule and say from 3 to 4 o'clock, I'm going to be working on this, whatever this is, and you'll get the entire context of that email inside the appointment as well.
Well, the reason why I do that is because my phone is synchronized to my Outlook and I get reminders on my phone. So as I open up my phone for the day, I have a stack of reminders that are already populated there.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the same. Most of mine are, I'll be honest, for me, most of my stuff that's in Outlook is actual meetings, like some I've got to join or a call I've got to get on. I don't use it a whole lot, and I should, I think, maybe use it more for like, hey, I need some time to study something or do something. So yeah, I should be doing better.
So
about
can
that.
we talk a little bit about the tasks within Outlook versus the tasks within the planner that you were talking about today?
Yeah.
Because there's a task list, okay? It
There.
looks kind
Let's see what it
of
says.
white
See what,
bread.
see what it says right there.
Oh, try the new
Yeah.
do app.
So writing's on the wall, in my opinion, that yes, there is a way to track things to do inside of Outlook, but there's not even, I don't even know if I can add anything in here now. Yeah, I guess I can add stuff. But it is prompting me and saying, hey, try to do. And it's being added. I didn't do this. Like I didn't add that there personally. It just showed up. So it seems like there's some strong messaging there around what you should use.
So if we use the to do, that would flow into the planner then.
Hey, my camera works now. Greg.
Yeah, mine's darker.
So to do is a couple of different things. It's kind of like a task. It's a task tracker across various sources. So if you add something in a planner plan and you assign it to yourself, it'll show up in to do.
Okay.
But you're not really going to be generating planner plans in to do. It's more of a receiver. The stuff that you generate in to do is going to be your own personal list. Now you can technically share a list. And this is where the lines really start to get blurred because now we've got loop components and planner plans, and now we can share lists. Like, come on, Dwayne, too many options. So technically you can share a list. I do this with my wife. We have a shared family list, and if she adds anything to it, I can see it on my phone. And that's nice. So I like that for personal reasons.
I've even used a to-do list for grocery items because you can just uncheck it and check it.
Yeah. Yep.
But a true confession, I am still from time to time still using a paper to-do list. Look at that.
That's an analog to-do list. That's cool.
Analog to-do list. And the reason why, it sits right on top of my desk. It sits right in front of me. And so I know what's there. I know. Yeah. I've gone to all, my calendar is all electronic now. Simply because within my work, I have to share my calendar with like 25 people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They know where I'm at. They know I'm ushering at church on Sunday.
They got LoJack on Greg.
Yep, they do.
I still do the analog stuff because it helps me to remember when I write it down. I feel like there's some sort of connection there for me. But if you've never seen these, this is called a Rocket Book. And the Rocket Book has an app that goes along with it that you can take all your chicken scratch and scan it, and it will ship it off to OneNote, and it will actually transcribe your chicken scratch into text, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I use a follow-up voicemail log too for my phone calls. Nice. So yeah, I'm still in the analog.
You have a Rolodex somewhere?
Yeah. Yes, I do. all the business cards. There's thousands of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know that this was kind of this is probably our most chaotic meeting. I apologize for that. we'll just blame Joe because he's not here, and so he's an easy excuse. But we talked about task management recently with the University of Florida committee or community, and they seemed to like it, and they liked I think the key takeaways that I heard were having one place to go, but that one place is, transportable, right? I can see it in Teams. I can see it in my to-do app, having that hub for this is what my day is going to look like. These are the things that I have to do to kind of keep yourself on track. But I'll hang out on the call for a little while longer if anybody's got any questions, but I'll kill the recording off just for the sake of time. But it was really nice seeing y'all. I'm glad so many people showed up to learn how to do tasks. It's always a popular topic. Apparently y'all have a lot to do. No pun intended.